You asked for it, so here it is. It's been a really tough couple of weeks in music. We've lost some great ones recently, including one of the greatest songwriters of the 80s. He was a Songwriters Hall of Fame inductee, talking about Billy Steinberg. He actually wrote 5 number 1 hits in the 80s for some of the greatest female singers of the era, including Alone by Heart. There's True Colors by Cyndi Lauper, So Emotional for Whitney Houston, Eternal Flame for the Bangles, and Like a Virgin for Madonna, plus other big hits for the Divinyls and the Pretenders and Linda Ronstadt. He was a hit-making machine and one of the good guys of music, one of the nicest guys I've ever interviewed. I was grateful I got a chance to interview him, and then I got to know him, and we've actually exchanged messages over the years or remained in touch since that interview. Coming up next, an interview with Billy about his big hits, including a great story of meeting and writing a song for his hero, Roy Orbison. Also, his interactions with other great singers who interpreted his songs, including his infamous exchange with Madonna. You got to hear the story from his own words. God bless him. May rest in peace. Man, his songs will live forever. Ah, man, gonna miss you, Billy. Here's the interview.
I had to escape. The city was sticky and cruel.
Tell us the story, the Roy Orbison story.
I used to commute a lot between the Coachella Valley and Los Angeles. So I think the concept of the song, I Drove All Night, had something to do with that, driving back and forth. And I always loved the first line of that song. It has a little poetry to it. It says, I had to escape. The city was sticky and cruel. And I think a lot of people, when they hear it, they may not hear that, but I thought, the city was sticky and cruel was kind of a nice way to start a song. So Tom and I wrote I Drove All Night, absolutely in our homage to Roy Orbison style. Like the pre-chorus in I Drove All Night, taste your sweet kisses, your arms open wide. That's a quotation from Running Scared by Roy Orbison. Very similar.
Very In Dreams.
Yeah. So we wrote I Drove All Night, and we made a demo of it with Tom singing. And we would laugh every time in the chorus when it would go, uh-huh, because Tom would sing it in his Roy Orbison impersonation, and we'd always just laugh. And at the time, I loved the band Cock Robin, and we knew Jay Landers. He at the time managed Cock Robin. And the lead singer and songwriter for Cock Robin was a guy called Peter Kingsbury. He was from Texas, like Roy Orbison. He had this big voice like Roy Orbison.
'Cause when your heart is free.
They were on Columbia Records. I thought, wow, let's get Cock Robin to do this song. So Tom and I got together with Peter Kingsbury and we played it for him, and he goes, great song, guys, but I write my own songs. Like he had no interest whatsoever covering a song. So that sort of went away. And then Tom and I went to a supper club in Orange County to hear Roy Orbison perform. It was one of those times in a legendary career where a guy was really off the map, unappreciated and forgotten. Roy didn't have a record deal, and he would play these sort of dinner clubs, and, you know, people who were teenagers during the 50s and early 60s would go to hear him. You know, we kind of braced ourselves, you know. The vocals on Roy Orbison records are insane.
Oh, yeah.
Elvis Presley used to say that Roy Orbison was his favorite singer. So Tom and I sort of thought, well, how's Roy gonna get up on stage and sing Crying and It's Over and In Dreams and sing them with that same feeling? But a band came on stage and with background singers, and the girls started singing dum 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 dee doo dum 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 dee doo. And then Roy came out and sang every one of his hits, if possible, better than the record. It really...
He never lost it even up to his death. I mean, he could still nail it every time.
He was insane. So after the concert, we went to a trailer. He had a little trailer outside in the parking lot of the restaurant. We said, you know, we were current hit songwriters and we love Roy, and we made arrangements for Roy to come over to Tom's house and put a vocal on the demo for I Drove All Night.
He come driving up in a...
Red Ferrari. Yeah, he came driving up in a red Ferrari, and he came in the house and he was so soft-spoken and so genteel, such a lovely guy. This was the first time I had ever worked with one of my childhood heroes.
Yeah.
And he told us the story of how he wrote Pretty Woman and the guitar riff for it.
Pretty woman, won't you pardon me?
Roy, your music means so much to me. I'm such a big fan. And he just said, in his soft-spoken Texas drawl, he just said, and I'm a big fan of yours too. And he said it so sincerely. So you had to love the guy. So, you know, he recorded some vocals on I Drove All Night, but what was it essentially? He was an unsigned artist, and this was a song that nobody at that point really wanted.
It was before his comeback.
Yeah. So anyway, Cyndi Lauper had a big hit with True Colors, and so that was a good introduction to her. And Tom and I were invited to go to New York to co-write with Cyndi. And we took with us I Drove All Night. And we played it for her, and she immediately said, oh, I'm going to cut that song. So we didn't even tell her that Roy had done a demo of the song, because it wasn't really meaningful. I mean, it was meaningful to us, but it wasn't meaningful on a career level because no one had ever heard Roy's version. So Cyndi cut it.
Went to number 6. It was a big hit here in America. And then Celine Dion, of course, covered it. It was on the Chrysler ads, and hers was number 1 in quite a few different countries, Belgium and Sweden and Canada, of course. Can't leave out Canada.
I like Celine's version. I think she did a great version of it.
That was one of your top 40 hits on the country charts. Pen Monkey covered it, 36 on the country charts. You probably knew that, but
Yeah, I knew it, but I don't think I heard it more than once.
Well, I read somewhere that John Waite did it too, but he never released his version. Tell us the story about Roy when it finally came out, because he'd recorded it and he had his big comeback. And
boy, you really know all you've been through the drawers here. Cyndi had a top 6 song with I Drove All Night. A couple years went by, and Roy Orbison, his career had a great resurgence, and he worked very well with Jeff Lynne from Electric Light Orchestra, and Roy was signed to Virgin Records. The Roy Orbison comeback with the song You Got It happened, and Roy joined up with the Superheroes and Traveling Wilburys. Everybody's got somebody to leave. And that happened, and tragically, Roy passed away. It occurred to me that his record company might be interested to hear Roy's version of I Drove All Night. I called a fellow named Jordan Harris, who was an A&R guy at Virgin Records, and I told him about it, and I sent it over to him, and he loved it. And he passed it along to Jeff Lynne, who took the 2 vocal takes that we did with Roy, and he reconstructed a track around it, and that's how we got the Roy Orbison record.
Well, that must have been just a magical experience when you spent that time and heard him singing your song.
You know, I told you a moment ago about how when Tom would sing the demo and he'd go, yeah, we would laugh because it just felt like, you know, doing a Roy Orbison impersonation. And then there we were in Tom's living room with headphones on, and it's Tom and me and Roy Orbison. And the track's in our ears, and we're hearing it, and Roy's singing along, and then Roy goes, yeah.
About you when the night is cold and dark, yeah.
And Tom and I looked at each other, and it was like lightning. It was like everything that you live for as a music lover and a songwriter was sort of encapsulated in that moment. That you write something completely as a tribute to your hero, and then there's your hero actually doing it. And it just was magic.
All night, crept in your room.
I want to ask you about Like a Virgin, because I remember reading somewhere that started out as a ballad.
I wouldn't say that Like a Virgin started out as a ballad, but I was writing about a personal situation. I had been in a difficult relationship. It was difficult to free myself from it. I managed to do that, and I met somebody new, and I was elated about that. So I started to write the story of it. I made it through the wilderness. Somehow I made it through. Tom and I were, besides songwriting partners, we were good friends. So when I put that lyric in front of him on the piano, he starts reading it. I was beat, incomplete, I'd been had, and he felt it. So he starts playing it as a ballad. I'm open to whatever interpretation, so it would go along, and then when he would get to the title, I had typed there, Like a Virgin. It just sounded silly to sing that like a ballad. It sounded, we just set it aside, and then the next time we got together, tried it again, and it just kept not working, and Tom was frustrated, and Tom has a very high voice. He could sing like the guy from Journey or the guy from Foreigner. He had that style of singing. We had been writing rock songs. So just out of frustration with Like a Virgin and trying to turn it into a song, he started playing a bass line with his left hand. And it was reminiscent of I Can't Help Myself by the Four Tops.
Yeah.
It had a little Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. And he just started singing falsetto, the lyrics that I had put in front of him. And he was really doing it almost as a joke. And I just went, that's it right there. And then the song kind of wrote itself. And he sang the demo falsetto. And that's what Madonna heard. I often say that some demos, artists stayed very true to those demos, and their records became, they really used the blueprint of the demo. Mm-hmm. And other ones, the artist wanted to reinvent. With Like a Virgin, they obviously liked the blueprint because Nile Rodgers produced the record. Tom Kelly and I weren't involved in any way in the recording sessions for Like a Virgin. But if you were to compare Madonna's record to our demo, they're identical.
She even says the last part that Tom was vibing on there.
Oh yeah, everything. Yeah. Even in the background, when Tom Kelly went, Like a Virgin, and just off mic, I went, hey! And that's on our demo. And she even incorporated that. Yeah. So we were happy about it.
How did you feel when you heard the Weird Al take on it?
Like a surgeon, hey, cutting for the very first.
Tom Kelly and I actually participated a little bit with Weird Al.
Oh,
because
really?
A guy can't do a parody without the songwriter's approval. So he wrote his parody, and then we met with him, and I thought it was good fun.
And of course, other interpretations of it in Moulin Rouge and Reservoir Dogs and Bridget Jones too. Have you heard the Elton John cover of it?
No, I haven't.
I think that somebody got a little live piece of it when he did it live, and it's on YouTube. You'll have to check that out.
Elton's Like a Virgin.
Teenage Fan Club, which was a big band in the 90s, also covered on one of their albums, been used in Glee and name-checked. It was name-checked in Soul Sister. By Train.
You know more about it than I do. I know there was I know of a version that was kind of crazy. It was a Lords of the New Church. That was a weird one.
And it was a hit in the UK.
But really, the only version I've ever heard of it that's any good is Madonna's version, because another song that Tom and I wrote, True Colors, that's a great song to cover because it just is sort of universal. But Like a Virgin,
it's indelibly tied to Madonna.
Yeah, it is.
It was interesting how the song was written and how it was inspired, how you wrote it. Madonna even said that it's absolutely ambiguous, that she said people go so crazy about this song because the parents groups and all those people came out against it, but they didn't really listen to the lyrics of the song because it's not really
Oh, listen, I'll tell you one version of the song that we haven't mentioned, which is actually, I'm going to take back what I said. I said a moment ago that I thought Madonna's version was the only really memorable one. There's another version of that song that just came out recently that I really adore. Believe it or not, an Italian nun by the name of Sister Christina.
I read that.
Sister Christina, she cut Like a Virgin. It was a big hit in Italy. I'm not really sure if it was a hit in other countries, but she did a beautiful video of it, also in Venice, Italy, where Madonna cut her video. But it isn't in any way a send-up or a parody. She really taps into the sincerity of the message of the song, and it gives you goosebumps to see it.
Shiny and new, like a virgin.
I got to ask you about meeting Madonna, because that's a fun story. When you finally met Madonna, you and Tom.
A couple years went by after the success of Like a Virgin, and Tom and I had never met Madonna. We were invited to her manager's 50th birthday party. Freddie DeMann, that was her manager. So we figured, well, now we're going to finally meet Madonna. And of course, you know, I'm an ambitious guy. My ulterior motive was I want to meet her and I want to convince her to write some songs with Tom and me. So it was a black tie event, and I, you know, had to get a tuxedo, and I'm standing on the terrace of Freddie DeMann's Beverly Hills house. Tom and I are talking with Stephen Bray. He co-wrote with Madonna some songs. I see Madonna and Warren Beatty walking out of the house, out onto this terrace where we were standing. So I'm thinking to myself, well, here it is, we're gonna meet Madonna. So she makes her way over, and Stephen Bray makes the introduction. He says, Madonna, I'd like you to meet Billy Steinberg and Tom Kelly, who wrote Like a Virgin. And I remember Warren Beatty starts laughing. I think he was laughing because he probably assumed that she must already know us if we wrote Like a Virgin.
Right.
I don't know why he was laughing, but he was laughing. That's what I thought. Tom always laughs at me because sometimes I can be a little gushing in a situation like that.
Yeah.
So I said, Madonna, I've wanted to meet you for so long. And so she looks at me and she says, well, now you did. She grabbed Warren and walked away. So that was the big moment. And I was crestfallen, and Tom was in stitches. He thought it was funny. But anyway, that's the story. It was satisfying for me, obviously, to have a mega hit like that. But it was also satisfying to have a hit that was kind of edgy and groundbreaking. You know, it wasn't an ordinary song.
Right.
You know, Like a Virgin, that's a title that had never been attempted before. And it was exciting because, you know, like you said, I had been interested in writing poetry, and I'm not saying that song lyrics are poetry, but I felt there was some adventurous spirit in terms of Like a Virgin as a title.
Tell you, in this industry, there's a lot of jerks. There's a lot of bad people out there. But there are a few of the really good ones, really good people, good human beings. And Billy Steinberg was definitely one of those. One of the kindest guys I ever met. He invited me into his home. Like I said, we've exchanged messages through the years, talked to each other on Instagram and on social media. And just such a humble guy. We're going to miss him. But man, Billy, rest in peace, my friend.